Hello peoples, are you okay? Red Pill Phil. Big like and subscribe to everyone who's watching. Thank you for persevering with the channel. Hope you're resonating without a doubt with all the videos that are up there. There's going to be more to come in the following months. The demo trail is not commenced yet, as it were. This is somewhat of the calm before the storm. So I've been taking a few days out just to get back with the family and just work. Just been working like a nutter, an absolute nutter. So I've not been really getting involved with the YouTube and doing all kinds of clips, but there was a couple of stories that were sent to me by my wonderful friend, Baroness Tony Bugle. And there's a lot of different links that I was sent, and I try not to react to too many links because you can end up, and I've known through past experience, you can get yourself in trouble just by just following people's links and just reacting to it. So I try and sit out of it all, even though the world's getting crazier and crazier. But there was a couple of links that Tony, hi Tony, had sent me, and one of them was from the BBC, which always makes me question why they're doing things, and they might report news and they might say that they're reporting it in an unbiased way, but even when they do it, I do tend to question why they're doing it in the way that they're doing it, just because you can't trust them. You can't trust them. Ever since they said Building 7 fell down, and they delivered that news 13 minutes earlier than was actually accurate to the time that the building actually fell down, and they were caught on camera doing that as well, all documented. It's made me question the BBC, and then everything that's followed after it is just kind of reconfirmed it. But this is the BBC, so the headline is Leicester Council sent care children list to taxi firms, and basically what it's reporting on is the care system obviously uses taxis to ferry people and patients and whatever have you around it, and obviously they have to use taxi firms to do it. So there's been a tender process which normally goes on. I guess that goes on throughout the world when you've got a system that can't really look after your people, so you end up having to tender out rather than actually doing it yourself. So this is the world that we live in England. So there's been a tender process, but in the mistake of it all, instead of normal tender documents being passed from one, from a governmental body to the taxi firm, what has happened, they've sent details of the actual care patients to the taxi firms, inadvertently, supposedly by mistake. And it says details of hundreds, potentially thousands of vulnerable people, including children. Now, vulnerable is a big word. Children have been emailed to taxi firms by a council. Leicester City Council accidentally sent a spreadsheet to 27 companies while getting tenders to transport people in care or with social needs. Councillor Ross Grant said the news made him feel sick in his stomach. The authority said it took data protection very seriously and had launched an investigation. Okay. The original email was sent on Tuesday morning, and a recall email was sent. A recall, well, what's that going to do? Just retract them all? No, it isn't at all. Ain't going to retract nothing. That was sent basically to the same companies. The recall said the original email had a large file attached to it called Taxi Tender Live V3. That contains passenger information. So they're telling him what it fucking contains. So whether they open it or not, they know what it contains now. That contains passenger information and was sent in error to your company. Please delete this email. Okay? Lovely sweet words, and I'm sure every taxi company is going to go, oh, well, okay, I'll delete it right now before I've even finished reading this article. Okay? Please delete this email. Please then delete the email from your deleted items. Okay, right, they're going to do that. Please do not try open it or read it. So is that not encouraging the Streisand effect? If I tell my kids not to do something, 9 times out of 10 they're going to do the very thing I've told them not to do. So the best thing to do is a bit of reverse psychology. I'm just saying, and that's what I'm talking to my kids. This is from adult to adult. This is scary shit. It then stated disclosing any information from the email was a breach of Data Protection Act. Didn't they breach the act in the first place? So if they're now going to throw the iron on someone, and fair play, delete it, you should do. You know, you should be professional and do exactly what they said. But we know the likelihood, you know, and we know the fact that it's all right you saying that we're going to give you the Protection Act if you actually, you know, look into it, or you're seen to be looking into it. But you breached it in the first place because you sent all them details out there. So if you're going to cast that stone, the first stone, then in this investigation, I expect people to be made accountable and for the stone to be cast at them also. Otherwise, what are you doing? So it makes me think a few different things about this. It makes me think whether the BBC are obviously reporting the story, but are they inflaming the situation by reporting it in the way that they've reported it? Because to a degree, I get that will cause anger with people who have already got issues regarding situations that are going on around the country with grooming gangs and with how vulnerable the people, the children that are being abused in all manner of ways, how vulnerable they all are. Okay, so they've already, that's a flag key word. The fact that they've sent it to taxi companies, which we know documented when it does come to grooming gangs, and they do look into how it's all been facilitated. It tends to emanate around certain shops and certain taxis. You know, and it's, we could all go there and we're not, you know, but at the same time, you wonder why the BBC are actually professing it in this way. Now, yeah, journalism, and yet they've got to tell the story. Now, they don't seem to be casting any aspersions on anyone and saying, you know, we will get to the bottom of this. They're just innocently telling you all, which makes me very suspicious of the BBC, but glad that they've reported it. Glad that they put it out there, but it's the way that they've reported it for me, but I might be paranoid in thinking that. But being paranoid means it's not necessarily happening. So it's the way they've reported it and what they've reported. Mr. Grant said he felt sick to my stomach that hundreds, potentially thousands of people could be involved. We are talking children the court has taken action to protect from someone who would put them at risk, and the council is potentially the organisation leaking their address, he added, which is very true. You know, they've put them in that very same position, but all of a sudden we're supposed to be caring for them. So it does make you think that there's a bit of a 50-50 thing here. You know, they actually are looking after them or professing to look after them, but at the same time, they're totally putting them in danger. And the BBC are saying, oh, yeah, I'm the vulnerable people. It's the wording, the way they kind of put it all together. I might be wrong, it's just my opinion. I might be looking at things too deeply, but I do find this is why I can't watch the BBC and can't watch TV in general, because I do tend to read into things. Now, that might be my flaw in life, who knows, but hey-ho, I'm an independent thinker. I don't think what they want me to think. I kind of draw my own conclusions. There is no guarantee this has not been copied and spread. We cannot put the genie back in the bottle. No truer word have been spoken there. So telling him that, You know, oh, well, once you've read this email, it'll self-destruct, delete it, and all this bollocks. It's not going to work. If you've put that in the wrong hands, it's already there. Not everyone's going to be as honest as you're making out in this email that they're going to be. And then not only that, let's look at the actions that's preceded to that. You know, instead of making them out to be the criminal as soon as they press click to open the file. Who sent the pressing file? They're just as guilty, are they not? But, my opinion. A spokesman for Labour, now Labour, Socialist, Marxism, all the rest of it, oh, well, maybe, oh, it's our mistake, oh, I'm sorry, but, oops, it's out there now. Yeah? A spokesman for Labour-controlled Leicester City. I wonder what Gary Lineker's got to say about this. But not a lot on Twitter. Yeah, City Council said information would normally be shared with taxi companies on a much more limited basis, so they shouldn't be sharing anything unless it's absolutely necessary. Now, they're not surmising that it's anything more that's not absolutely necessary, but they're almost giving it a pass there with that statement. That's how I interpret it, but same again, I could be paranoid. We are investigating and will report this incident to the Information Commission's office. Well, I hope you pissing do, because that is shocking. And let's hope there's not more crimes that precede that because of it, really. So that's the main story on that. How you feel about it, I'm not sure, but changing the subject drastically. Looking on Louder with Crowder, another link sent by the loving Baroness Tony Bugle. Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous quote deemed too offensive for you of Oregon. Now, obviously refers to a university in Oregon that's swiping his major speech of I have a dream. And that dream basically consisted of that you could look at his daughters and not judge his daughters by the colour of their skin, but by the content of the character. Now, what the university is saying is that statement is not inclusive enough. Okay, so because of that, they want to kind of strike that away. Now, to me, that is sacrilege. To me, that shows total cultural Marxism that's coming through the university system, even though it's in Oregon, thousands of miles away. But you can see it's a pattern, it's a trend, it's emerging. There'll be plenty of other stories that probably people watching this that have got their daughters, their sons in university that are telling, hey, freaking hell, my professor said this, my professor's doing that, we can't do this now, we can't do that. So you can see how this is even linked, whether it's anywhere near us or not. And it's showing a trend that seems to be happening, that they seem to want to adhere to making us submissive to acknowledging every gender that they want to profess is a legitimate gender, and everything in between. You know, if you recognise yourself as a freaking chipmunk, then Martin Luther King didn't say nothing about that, so you shouldn't really. And that's the mentality behind it, that the breaking down the very fabric. That statement alone, for me, Martin Luther King's statement that you should be judged on your content of character and not on the colour of your skin, to me should be, and I'm not going to degrade it by putting it the 11th, but I will say the 11th commandment. If we're going to believe in these set of ideals that we should all live by as human beings, not as politically directed as, you know, identity politics and following into all that, that is cultural Marxism. That is pitting us all against each other. What Martin Luther King went through and what he spiritually represented as a human being, for him to go through what he went through and to come out with such a comment like that in the face of what he was dealing with as an individual and what he was trying to forward project. I see a time when someone could look at the colour of my skin and not judge me on that, but judge on what comes out of here and what is in there. And that's all that quote was about. But they're going to piss all over that. So that worries the hell out of me, that there's going to be a hell of a lot of genders and a hell of a lot of different ethnicity people that are going to buy into the fact that we shouldn't listen to the edicts of Martin Luther King because he wasn't inclusive now. Because, you know, it doesn't explain how that person with blue hair, who's a male in every other way biologically and chemistry, but at the same time he's going through the gender process change, it doesn't acknowledge him. I'm saying nothing more on that subject. I'm going to leave that with you, that's where we're going. That's where something like that is taking us, and that's where it's taking our children. So that's all I can say. So this is Red Pill Phil, guys. I hope that this has been beneficial to you guys. Like I say, I'll try and upload some more videos as time goes on before the marches. Although I am very, very busy with work and with family and try and keep everything on an even keel, because once the marches do start, it's going to be week in, week out, I would have thought, particularly with uploading and particularly with answering comments and getting back and just over-involving myself in the scenario. So, as I feel I need to do, by the way. I'd just like to give a big mention to more people that have generously donated to the PayPal. Thank you very much, guys. No matter how little you've put in, and now no matter how big you've put in, it's irrelevant, the fact that you're putting in, because this is all forward projection. On the strength of this, I've been able to book tickets for the hotel for Newcastle, because I'll be going on the Friday. The actual event is on the Saturday. I've been able to book return train tickets. I've been able to book train tickets for Bristol, which is another march that will be coming on, which I'll talk about more later. And I'm almost on the verge of booking Poland at the end of the year. Now, that's something that I've not fully got the money in for, but I'm literally putting the rest of the money to and getting it booked just because of... Hello, babes, you all right, my dear? How are you doing? Yes, I am. You're all right, that's no problem at all. So at this point, I'm going to wrap it up by saying a big thank you to Maya, an avatar called Town and Country. Thank you very much. C. Lambert, G. Thompson, M. Coverley, which I do believe that's the second time that you've actually put something into the PayPal. So muchas gracias to you, my friend. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone. S. Elwell, thank you very much to you, sir, as well, or madam. You're all doing brilliantly well. Thank you very much, because this, like I say, it's just helping a no end to pay for expenses and just make sure that the ride that I'm having this year is not as intrepidous as it needs to be. You are alleviating it. You are making it a lot easier for me to move forward. I'm still losing out on days pay, this, that and the other, but I don't mind that. The expenses are getting covered, so it does make me in a better position to be able to move forward and do it all. So thanks a lot. And one more big thanks before I've got to go to a chap called Jay Deans. I'm not going to say his full name just in case he didn't want it to be mentioned. A big thank you. The artwork that old subscribers will realise that has been updated, new subscribers will not realise. I've got this artwork on the header as well as the avatar as well. This has all been concepted by Jay Deans. Totally out the blue, off his own accord, his own generosity, his own time, his own expertise, has been able to engineer this artwork, and I find it absolutely brilliant. He just sent it to me, said, mate, if you want to do something with it, go for it. I looked at it, thought it's absolutely fantastic. I've revamped it, changed my header, changed my avatar, because I love it. So a big thank you to you, my friend, Mr. Jay Deans. And thank you to everyone else who's throwing nothing but support to this movement. There will be more up and coming videos coming up. There will be a video regarding the Veterans Against Terrorism coming up in Newcastle on February the 17th. So watch out for that, guys. Other than that, all I'm going to say is I love you all, even the pissing haters, and I hope you're all resonating, no matter what your skin colour, no matter what your affiliation to faith or anything. We're all human beings, and we're all being hoodwinked by the same elite system that is controlling all this. So we've got to keep all that in mind moving forward. So nice one, guys. You take care, and I'll speak to you soon.